The ideas that gave birth to our nation are the ideas that our nation is resistant to right now, and we should talk about that all the time.
In a world where narratives are shaped by corporations and gatekeepers, independent voices matter more than ever. Badlands Media brings together citizen journalists, researchers, and independent thinkers.
The truth is triggering.
Question the narrative. Explore the facts.
It's authenticity, courage, resilience.
Search for the truth others won't.
It's not about being first or being right.
The information war is changing.
It's about being authentic.
Embrace the friction.
Embrace the friction.
Shut the f*** up.
Authentically antagonizing. Join the movement.
I'm going to say how I feel.
Follow Badlands Media.
This is about the future.
The Badlands. What are the Badlands? Explain those Badlands. That's a hell of a name.
Your body doesn't need more synthetic fixes. It needs real plant medicine. Wild herbs are packed with minerals, adaptogens, and healing compounds your body actually recognizes and can use, supporting energy, immunity, and balance from the inside out. At Tamarac Garden, our supplements bring these overlooked weeds and wildflowers back into your daily routine. Don't just manage symptoms, support your body, and eat your weeds. Head to tamaracgarden.com for $10 off your order of $50 or more when you use code BADLANDS at checkout.
Welcome, friends. Another episode of MAHA Living here. What's up, Nate Dogg?
Yo, it is a beautiful day in Montana today. I got out, played some disc golf, and you know what I was thinking about the whole time?
What's that?
It wasn't peptides, but I'm thinking about them now.
That we will be. Here is our long-awaited show on peptides. Now, to lay the foundation here, we're not peptide experts by any means. We're just going to cover the basics. We're going to look at some articles discussing exactly what they are, because really over the past, 3 years maybe? How long has it been since this peptide phrase has kind of gone viral and it's like the new buzzword?
Yeah, I mean, that sounds about right. I mean, up until then, I hadn't really heard anything people talking about. It was kind of like a vague thing, people talking about going to Mexico for peptides to fix their knees. That's like where I first started hearing about it.
But then I think as pharmaceutical companies wanted to sell peptides, particularly Ozempic and GLP-1 and like weight loss drugs, peptide drugs, then it started getting really popular. Then people started realizing, oh, there's supplemental or pharmaceutical forms of other peptides that can do other things. And now over the past few years, it's this big buzzword. But as you and I have been kind of digging into it the past few days, really it looks like a peptide is just it's a catch-all word. It's a sort of a vague umbrella term that encompasses a lot of different things. And peptides aren't just nutraceuticals you can go buy and do drops into the tongue, or some people inject, but there's a lot of peptides in food. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of peptides our bodies make that, like insulin, for instance, is technically a peptide. Aspartame, the artificial sweetener, I just learned, is a peptide, technically, I guess. So it's kind of a vague word that, depending on your definition or what you're talking about or how you're talking about it, could encompass a lot of different things. And the reason why you and I are talking about it is, one of the reasons why is because RFK Jr. is having the federal health agencies sort of deregulate or just not worry about peptides on the open market as much.
Yeah, I think specific peptides.
Specific ones, yeah. I think RFK put out a list of, was it 14?
Something like that.
Specific ones, something to that effect, about 12 to 14 of them. It says here, under President Joe Biden, the FDA added nearly 20 peptides to the federal list of substances that should not be produced by compounding pharmacies.
Right.
And then I believe RFK removed, about 14 of them or so. So RFK is just getting the federal health agencies deregulating out of the business of messing with compounding pharmacies and people's ability to acquire them and use them. Now, we've said this before in shows, and we'll reiterate it here during our peptide specific video, is that they're just tools. Like any supplement, pharmaceutical product, whatever you're choosing to take as a pill or a powder or inject, they're just tools. And you can use any tool for good or bad.
Yep.
We clearly see with Ozempic that people are abusing it and they are causing themselves, sure, they lose a little bit of weight, they look better, they feel better about themselves because aesthetics, but they end up doing damage to their bones or kidneys. And, peptides, if you do choose to go that route, just got to be careful. Don't abuse it. Don't use it as a crutch or a magic pill. Ideally, we would have a society healthy enough where we don't have to start reaching for injectable peptides to be healthy and feel good about ourselves. But in the dire straits we're in, yeah, okay, I can understand why certain peptides people reach for certain reasons. So,
yeah, I think it's important. Like, so whenever using peptides don't create or trigger anything inside the body that the body doesn't already have the machinery to create. So it's just basically turning on and off natural processes. But that doesn't mean that it's natural, because when you're using a peptide, it can turn on a process that is natural, but that doesn't mean that process is supposed to stay on for an extended period of time or off. And so I think that's where a lot of the repercussions come from, is, like these natural processes of the body that are highly regulated by the body itself. Introduce this artificial on or off switch with a peptide, synthetic or natural, it can definitely do long-term damage.
There is nuance to the whole conversation of what is natural. Water is natural, but you can drink too much water too quick and die. So,
yeah.
Anyway, let's dive into defining exactly what a peptide is. We'll just go to the Wikipedia page here. Peptides are short chains of amino acids linked by peptide bonds. That's about it.
I want to throw this in here real quick, because I think this really helped me. So a quick analogy for peptides is you have basically three things. You have amino acids, you have peptides, and then you have proteins. You can think of amino acids like individual letters, A, B, C, D. Then you have peptides, which are just basically like short words or phrases made up of those letters. And then you have proteins underneath that. A protein is a full sentence or paragraph. So a peptide, you can have multiple peptides together inside of a protein. I just thought that was really interesting, kind of helped me wrap my brain around it.
A lot of times I like to use vehicle analogies when it comes to health. You've got to keep the oil changed and get good gasoline in your car. Like, you got to eat good food, your body is an engine. It's a good analogy. But when I think of peptides here, it kind of makes me think of, say, an amino acid is like the screw in your wheel. The peptide is the whole axle assembly, multiple pieces. And then the protein would be, I don't know, the car, all the pieces together or something like that. So,
yep.
Short, lame analogy, but something to that effect, right?
Well, it helps, though, having that to wrap your brain around it, because now whenever you hear peptide in the future, it gives you context. Whereas before, I had no idea what a peptide was.
Yeah, a polypeptide is a longer, continuous, unbranched peptide chain. Polypeptides that have a molecular mass of 10,000 DA or more are called proteins. Chains of fewer than 20 amino acids are called oligopeptides and include dipeptides and tripeptides and tetrapeptides. And there's just a bunch of different nomenclature for essentially defining how long they are, how many amino acids are in it. Kind of sounds like to me here, all proteins are peptides, but not all peptides are proteins. something like that, maybe.
Yeah.
Classification: peptides have been classified according to their sources and functions. Some groups of peptides include plant peptides, bacterial and antibiotic peptides, fungal peptides, amphibian peptides, venom peptides, immune peptides, brain, etc., pretty much all over the place. And then protein peptide interactions. Peptides can perform interactions with proteins and other macromolecules. They're responsible for numerous important functions in the human cell, such as cell signaling, and act as immune modulators. Studies have reported that 15 to 40% of all protein-protein interactions in human cells are mediated by peptides. Additionally, it's estimated that at least 10% of the pharmaceutical market is based on peptide products. And that is growing. So, for instance, Ozempic, GLP-1, comes from the saliva of the Gila monster. I think it's a peptide in the saliva of a reptile that just barely eats. And this peptide helps modulate the metabolism of this reptile that barely eats. And scientists found that, if humans take this peptide, it can help sort of regulate our metabolism and help curb hunger and things like that. So insulin is a peptide as well. So you have, of course, our bodies manufacture insulin, but due to a variety of factors, sometimes people's bodies don't manufacture enough insulin. They need to inject it or take it. And technically, insulin is a peptide. Glutathione is a common natural peptide. Our bodies manufacture glutathione as an antioxidant. You can take supplemental forms of glutathione to help with the immune system, detoxification in the liver, help with antioxidants in the body. So technically, glutathione is a peptide. As I mentioned earlier, aspartame is a peptide because it's a string of amino acids. And there's the whole history on aspartame. We don't need to get into that, but goes to show that not all peptides are good. Good for you, especially in high doses that shouldn't necessarily be in the body. I suppose some peptides your body can manufacture. You could classify them as natural. Some peptides, not natural. Aspartame is not natural per se. It is made up of natural amino acids, but it's not something your body manufactures. So kind of the point I'm getting to here is that the word peptide is just, it's kind of meaningless somewhat.
Yeah.
Because it's a very vague thing, it's not all good, not all bad, not all natural. Some of it is kind of natural. And for context here, here's just a list of 20 amino acids. So back to health basics. If you're unfamiliar with what an amino acid is, there's about 20 of them. And some of these amino acids are called essential amino acids, meaning your body can't manufacture them. Other amino acids your body can manufacture on its own. And different amino acids do sort of different things in the body, like these ones, isoleucine, leucine, and valine, are called branch chain amino acids because those are particularly oriented towards muscular development. Lysine for the immune system, tryptophan for neurotransmitter support. So all of these sort of do different things in the body. Arginine helps with your blood nitric oxide production. And when you string these together, when you get a few of them, that is a peptide. And then when you get, I guess, just a lot of them together, that's a protein.
The FDA classifies it. It definitely has some nuance to it, but anything basically under 40 chains of amino acids is considered a peptide. Anything greater than 40 chains of amino acids, they consider a protein.
And that's the FDA's definition.
That's FDA's, yeah.
Got it. We're trying to keep this not so sciencey, but any research on peptides just gets really heady.
It does.
Let's see. You had in our show notes here,
Yeah.
you kind of wrote some stuff or had AI help you write some stuff.
Yeah.
The mechanism of peptide function encoded in genes, produced as precursors, then processed and secreted. The action, peptides help bind to protein receptors in the body and other surface receptors, activate messengers within the cells, amplify signals, alter gene expression, enzyme activity, and cell behavior. Peptides are rapidly degraded, broken down by enzymes to prevent prolonged signaling. Half-lives are often short. Okay, that's interesting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was reading that. So when you take peptides orally, apparently you're only getting like 1 to 2% absorption because of the enzymes and stomach acid.
Gotcha. Okay. Does that include enzymes in the mouth?
I mean, I would assume so.
Yeah, I would assume so, because I wonder if there's a way to absorb it mucosally in the mouth.
Prior to, God, that would be an excellent fit for pouches.
Yeah, but maybe not, because it could be mouth enzymes, not just stomach enzymes that break it down. That's the thing. I mean, there's a couple peptides I've been curious and interested in trying, but I'm like, I hate needles. I have needle phobia, and I just don't want to inject them. So if I could find or I suppose as technology and manufacturing develops, we could find some sort of topical administration, just like a gel or a cream that you could put on your skin and it'll absorb that way.
Yeah, I mean, I would imagine that with the deregulation that RFK is discussing right now, the more that we see the deregulation, the more we see research, and then the more that it's available for public consumption, the more people are going to invest. Companies are going to invest in developing new ways to administer it. So, yeah, I would imagine in a pretty short amount of time, we'll probably see some rapid progress.
That
you utilize them.
You have to be really careful with that, though, because if peptides are dose dependent and you could get problems by doing too much, a topical administration, you have to be real careful as to not lathering yourself up too much. There are like this copper peptide, GHKCU. There is topical products on the market already you can try for. This is a copper peptide for hair growth. And
let me at it.
Yeah, I had actually bought a bottle of this. It wasn't, it was kind of cheapy. I just wanted to try it and see what it was like. It was like $30.
Does that explain that beautiful hairline?
Yeah, man.
It is luscious.
It's thinning a little bit here in my mid-30s, so I just wanted to. My hairline's good. It's just like the whole thing's thinning.
Yeah.
So I gave it a shot, and I wasn't consistent with it though, but I used it for a few weeks, like once a day. I think it says use it like 2 or 3 times a day. And I did notice that my hair was just like a little softer. I suppose if I used it for a few months consistently, that it would help out. But again, it's like, you see here's an injectable one from a compound pharmacy. I would imagine the injectable one would be a lot more.
That freaks me out a little bit. I'm like, okay, so you're injecting a peptide to trigger hair growth, but you're injecting.
Yeah, do you have to inject it like in your head?
Yeah, that's like, so you inject it in your butt, like what? We get hair growth on the toes. Damn it!
Inject it into your ass cheeks, and you get a big hairy ass.
Shit.
I don't need a.
Stay warm in the winter.
I don't need a seat cushion anymore. I grew my own.
I mean, but I guess what excites me about this is, so you were discussing earlier with how they find the GLP-1, like how far could we go with this? Like, are peptides, are specific peptides what's responsible for a lizard regrowing its tail? You know, like how far could peptides go with triggering natural responses? Are peptides responsible for teeth, you know, new teeth growing inside of your jaw? It's interesting.
And could we find, and I think we can with research, but could we find peptides that modulate an immune response in such a way that just destroys cancer? And
Yeah.
you know, you're not, as opposed to chemotherapy where you're, you know, as opposed to cut, poison, burn, which are the
Yep.
typical pharmaceutical ways to treat cancer. You're either cutting it out with surgery, you're burning it off with radiation, or you're poisoning yourself with chemotherapy.
Yeah.
Could there be peptides that could be used in a, you know, in a whole treatment? In fact, there's so many things coming to mind here. You know, medicinal mushrooms like turkey tail, great for the immune system. I bet that's due to the peptides in mushrooms. And
interesting.
I think that's where we should look for cancer treating peptides. Mushroom bioactive peptides are bioactive peptides derived directly from mushroom or mycelia, tiny protein fragments that occur naturally in edible mushrooms. Totally.
Dude, that's wild. So what these are, I mean, it's kind of like what I'm maybe this is a little esoteric, but it's like it's the building blocks of natural functions in the body.
Us. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, so you take all these, like this kind of seems like magic to me. I mean, talking about peptides and how they can impact.
Well, it's like we've known, like I've known for 15 years that medicinal mushrooms like turkey tail, agarikon, chaga, they're amazing for the immune system and they can do wonderful things for balancing and helping treating cancer, autoimmune issues, other things. It's like we've known what's been going on, but with all this research into peptides over the last 3 to 5 years, now we're figuring out the why.
Right.
We've kind of invented a new word to describe exactly what's going on. But
yeah. I think one thing worth mentioning is that peptides and how they function in the body is different than gene therapy. Gene therapy goes inside and actually like changes inside of the cell how it functions, whereas a peptide stays on the outside and just triggers a natural mechanism.
I like that you said that right there.
Yeah.
Because I know for the last 10 to 15 years, Big Pharma has really been pushing like CRISPR gene therapy for treating cancer and all these other things. That's never sat right with me. You know, why it's instead of altering our genes, why don't we take compounds that help our genes just express themselves better instead of trying to alter them? There's this one. That's lion's mane right there. Yep. Hericium arrant. I'm not even going to try to say that, but that's lion's mane. Antioxidant abilities of peptides derived from the lion's mane mushroom, produced via 3 microbial proteases by enzymes. Freaking neat, man.
Last winter, the world met Madame Margie, the moistureless. But while Badlandia banded together at GART, she evolved. While deep in her layer, she uncovered 4 sacred instruments of hydration. The lip balm, the lotion, the tallow bar, and the new stainless steel gua sha. Together, they wage war. Flakiness fallen, roughness retreats, dryness trembles, and among the rebels, Mother's good boy. But elsewhere in Badlandia, rebellion grows, the beards remain.
Shave them all off.
Visit softdisclosure.com and use promo code Mama's Boy for 20% off your Mother's Day bundle. Can't choose the right sacred instruments for your mother? Offer them all with an e-gift card. For softness, for victory, for moms.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA.
Ready to upgrade your daily routine with truly clean, natural products? Start in the kitchen with Vanman's Pure Cooking Tallow, perfect for high heat cooking and added rich, clean flavor to your meals. For your daily cleanse, try their gentle tallow soaps. the classic honey, pine tar, or coconut, these bars deliver a rich, natural lather that leaves your skin feeling clean, soft, and refreshed. Give your smile real care with Miracle Tooth powder in flavors like mint bone, cinnabone, or original. Customers rave about wider, stronger teeth and fresher breath with no harsh chemicals. Vanman also offers great products like hair care, eye cream, and more, all made with clean, natural ingredients, no exceptions. Right now, enjoy free U.S. shipping on orders over $40. Head to badlandsmedia.tv/Vanman today. That's badlandsmedia.tv/Vanman. As we've been discussing, this is a good segue into our next topic of conversation. Peptides are in a lot of foods, very protein-rich foods. You know, you don't have to inject a peptide to get the benefits of it. I just asked Grok here, list common food sources of peptides. More of a demand than an ask, but do this for me. Animal-based sources, often richest in bioactive peptides. Eggs, high-end peptides that support muscle repair, immunity, and skin health. Dairy products, high-end whey peptides, especially fermented varieties. Meat, muscle peptides, proteins, yield many bioactive peptides. Fish, shellfish, bone broth, collagen-rich foods. Plant sources of peptides. Additional notes, fermented foods contain higher levels of bioactive peptides due to natural breakdown of proteins. So another win for sauerkraut here.
Right?
Consuming a varied protein-rich diet naturally provides the amino acids your body uses to form peptides during digestion. You know, in Eastern medicine, there is Ayurvedic and Chinese medicine. There's a principle they often promote that like heals like, or like cures like. And the idea is if you want to, you know, eat that, then you can apply that to organs.
Mm-hmm.
Like organs can be, one of the reasons is so beneficial is that the liver, eating a liver of an animal is going to have tons of peptides and bioactive compounds in there that your liver is then going to be able to use. And same goes for other organs and parts of the animal. Granted, I do think that people who go too carnivore and eat too many organs, as we've been discussing, get too many of those peptides, and then their body starts doing more harm than good. But I think there is something to that idea of the like feels like. So eating the, you know, organs of the animals helps us.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, that's kind of the basis behind homeopathy as well, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. But there's also peptides in not meats as well. Nuts and seeds and hemp seeds and beans. So fermented foods as well. So I'm not a proponent of 100% carnivore necessarily, but that is you know, whole foods basically. Eat whole foods. Get your peptides from those. But then, of course, if you need more peptides, there's ways to go about finding them. Peptides, of course, becoming very popular in the bodybuilding industry. Peptide hormones are hormones composed of peptide molecules. These hormones influence the endocrine system of animals, including humans. Most hormones are classified as either amino-based hormones or steroid hormones. Amino acid-based hormones are water-soluble and act on target cells via second messenger systems, whereas steroid hormones, being fat-soluble, diffuse through plasma membranes to interact directly with cellular receptors in the cell nucleus. So that is, like, technically is vitamin D. I think vitamin D is fat soluble. So sometimes vitamin D is classified as like a steroidal type hormone. It's not technically a hormone, but it acts on those pathways in the body.
100%. Yes. Yeah. I think vitamin D is more of a hormone than it is a vitamin.
I'm just kind of scoping some vitamin D articles here. The recent discovery that vitamin D induces antimicrobial peptide gene expression. So vitamin D is not a peptide, but it helps the body produce peptides that it needs. That's neat.
Yeah.
So anyway, peptide hormones are synthesized in cells from amino acids. The initial precursors known as pre-pro hormones. Pre-pro hormones. Some neurotransmitters are secreted and released in a manner similar to peptide hormones and contain neuropeptides that function as both neurotransmitters in the nervous system and hormones in the bloodstream.
Jeez.
So that's why it's like, sometimes you have a compound that can be classified technically as a variety of different things. It's a neurotransmitter, and it's a peptide, and it's a hormone, and that's why these definitions are there's gray area there. Inject me with some of those neuropeptides, man.
When you said that, I was like, man, that's interesting. Okay, so I just had to ask Rock, are psychedelic compounds peptides? And that is a negative. So it's not peptides that cause.
But I would imagine they influence the body to produce neurotransmitter peptides.
Yeah, it's possible.
Well, wouldn't DMT technically be a peptide?
Actually, it's
an alkaloid.
Yeah. Tryptamines like psilocybin and DMT are derived from the amino acid tryptophan. So they have a relationship to amino acid, but they're not chains of amino acid and have no peptide bonds.
Okay, it's the chemical bonding in them that technically makes them not peptides. Gotcha. Because I think in our science-y thing here, it said peptides are technically classified as such based on the
chain, I can't read.
Amino chains, carboxyl functions.
Yeah. So the neuroactive peptides in the brain are things like endorphins, oxytocin.
I love me some endorphins. Partial list of peptide hormones in humans. GLP-1. Your Ozempics.
Yeah.
Follicle stimulating hormone, HCG. That was a big diet trend about 10, 15 years ago.
Is that the peptide that supposedly end result is increase in HGH?
Well, it's similar to back when I worked in the supplement store 15 years ago, we sold homeopathic HCG.
Okay.
And oh my gosh, it was such a craze. I think I remember Dr. Oz. Did Dr. Oz talk about it way back when? I think he did. And that's why so many people, that's why it went so viral at the time. This is about 2012. But HCG suppresses appetite.
Oh, okay.
So it's similar to GLP-1, but a little different. HCG is an appetite suppressant. So when people they would inject themselves with HCG, or we sold homeopathic drops, but they would reduce their calories down to 500 a day. And the HCG would help their metabolism not go into starvation mode. So they would eat 500 calories a day. Couldn't do any sugar on it. It was completely sugar-free diet, but 500 calories a day. HCG would prevent their body going into starvation mode, so their metabolism would still be burning 2,000 or 2,500 calories a day. And then that way they'd be losing half a pound of fat a day, ideally. You would get a little bit of muscle wasting on it, but not that much. I saw some people really, really have good results doing the HCG, like 3-week or 6-week rounds of it. But Yeah, we never called it a peptide 15 years ago. Kind of like my point here is that the peptide word is just kind of over the past 3 years become a trendy word, but it's good that we're getting it out to sort of define these things a little more clearly, I guess. Insulin's a peptide, like you said, oxytocin, HGH, yeah, somatotropin, gonadotropin. So, and a lot of these are both hormones and peptides, it looks like. HCG is a hormone. Peptide hormones, dirt. Now we shall get into some of the most popular peptides that are sort of out there on the market, on the internet, in the world. I know a few viewers of our MAHA show have mentioned they're doing BPC 157 for injury repair.
Yep.
Which is cool. But this is Dr. Alex Tatum. He was just on the Diary of a CEO podcast about 2 weeks ago. They're calling him a peptide expert. So let's listen to him. We'll go through a few videos here of him talking about the most popular ones in the market, like a quick clip of him talking about that copper peptide we mentioned. So we'll just kind of go through and watch a few clips here.
Cool.
And then finish up.
157. This is probably one of the most popular peptides that we're talking about right now, because BPC 157 is a synthetic version of a naturally found peptide in the gut. But what this actually does is it enhances blood vessel growth in areas of injury. And it kind of makes sense, because if you think about it, our gut, our stomach is really just this bag of acid that sits inside of our abdomen. And yet somehow you and I are here talking to each other and our bodies aren't eating themselves. Well, how does that work? Well, it's because we've developed a lot of really robust systems to encourage healing of the gastric lining. And so the idea is, well, if this is one of the compounds that can help do that, it's been proven in multiple animal models. For example, they have completely transected the Achilles tendon in rats. And then transected. So they've cut across the Achilles tendon. So not just a small injury that you or I might experience in the gym where we pull it or strain it, but actually surgically cut the Achilles tendon. And then they administer it to rats, and they are healing spontaneously with administration of BPC 157.
Okay, what does spontaneously mean? That sounds a little exaggerated there. Instant recovery, spontaneous healing. I just wonder.
That sounds amazing.
I wonder if this guy sells peptides at an institute. Sorry, I'm getting distracted here. It just sounds
okay. It's worth knowing where we're getting the information from.
Right. I mean, yeah, it makes sense. This guy has a coaching program and like a consulting. Okay, but it doesn't look like he sells peptides. He does wiener implants, though. That's okay. Just wanted to make sure. It sounded like he was gassing up peptides a bit too much there. But yeah, I mean, I've heard great things about BPC 157. And I'll be honest, when I broke my rib a few months ago, after like 4 weeks, healing was a little slower than I thought. And I sort of considered BPC 157 for a moment. I didn't end up using it and didn't end up needing it. I'm back to 100% now, but I would if I cut my Achilles tendon, I guess.
Anecdotal, I was just reading a story of a trainer who he had a back injury, and he was like, all right, I'm going to try injecting BPC 157. I'll let you guys know. 24 hours later, he posted, and he said, like his pain level was typically at like a 7 to 8. He said within 24 hours, it dropped down to like a 2 to 3, which I thought was, that's anecdotal, but interesting.
Imagine DMSO combined with BPC 157. Here you go. Here's a clip on the copper peptide.
The of everything. But if we're talking about actual legitimate formulations, the best example of a topical cream is going to be GHKCU. And this is interesting because this is a copper tripeptide that has been found to decrease in expression and concentration as we age. But when it is applied topically, it's highly effective. Topically. So putting on a cream on your face, all right, it's been found to be extremely beneficial in regenerating the quality of skin. So complexion, all right, increasing the amount of collagen and elastin, the things that we need to keep our faces taut and youthful, the things that people will pay lots of money to go get lasered to get improvements. Not that it's a replacement for that, but that's a topical form that, believe it or not, you could go out and buy today, because topical GHKCU is regulated very differently than the injectable form.
Is it?
Sounds neat. Rather do that than Botox.
Yeah.
Looks like this one is a neuropeptide taken as a nasal spray.
That's interesting.
So not cocaine, but boosting focus and mental clarity with a.
I legitimately have not heard of this. I'm kind of curious.
Oh, I'd try it 100%. When we're done recording here, dude, I'm gonna go look it up. I'm my own guinea pig a lot of the time, and I don't have a problem trying shit. All right, Semax.
But on that point of energy and cognition, if I wanted to become a better podcaster, and I sit here sometimes we do 2 in a day, which means I might sit here for 8 hours. Once we did, I think a couple of times we've done 3 in a day.
That's brutal.
Which is 12 hours of recording.
Yeah.
But what would you recommend if I was trying to improve my cognitive performance?
So again, as a physician who likes keeping my license, I wouldn't say necessarily recommend, but I would say if we're looking at how these medications have been used, and potentially one that may be legal again coming this July, pending what the FDA says, intranasal Cmax. And this was one that was originally studied actually in Russia many years ago. And what they found is that this 7 amino acid peptide, when it was administered after a TBI, so a traumatic brain injury, all right, or acute injury, that patients tended to bounce back faster. Also, they saw evidence of it improving outcomes after stroke. And it also seems to upregulate the same sort of factors that help with cognition and with, connecting sentences and bits of data in your brain. And so it's also interestingly enough, one of the ones that is available, intranasally, because it goes through the mucous membranes and gets right where you need it. And so that's going to be a really, really fascinating compound to see back on the market. And then we can actually get more data regarding efficacy.
I didn't really pick anything up about how it works in that diatribe.
Let's see. It is not going to lie. While he was talking, I was looking it up to buy. And I found a few options. It looks like the price range is around $80 to $100, depending on the size of the bottle. Here's one I found, made in the USA. Semax is a peptide chain of, I think this is methionine, glutamine, phenylalanine, proline, glycine, proline.
You are a legend, sir.
I think. So those are the amino acids, and
so Cmax, not to be confused with Semen.
Stop it, Nate. I'm not putting that.
Don't put that up your nose.
Semax is a non-glycosylated polypeptide chain of 7 amino acids that interacts with melanocortin receptors in experimental models to activate intercellular signaling pathways that may support neurons and enhance synaptic plasticity. This laboratory-grade peptide has demonstrated capability to increase hippocampal expression of brain-derived neurotrophic factor, BDNF and TRKB levels in research settings, making it valuable for investigating neuroprotective mechanisms in controlled experimental conditions.
Interesting.
Well,
dude, I wonder, I'm thinking instantly, you combine that with methylene blue.
Oh, dude, don't give me the ideas.
Dude, sounds
300 micrograms per spray. I wonder what the directions are. One huff per day. Oh, I don't know, man. Oh, we'll bookmark that one. And
good stuff.
melanotan for people who burn easily and want a deep tan without long UV exposure.
We're still looking at the C-Mix.
Thanks.
And like, for example, here, we've got another one. So this is melanotan 2, right? So this is a melanocortin receptor agonist. So melanocortin's this what makes you tan, right? So you could administer this, all right? And it will actually end up giving you a deep tan in response to just a little bit of UV sun exposure, all right? Now, I know, right? Listen, I've embraced my pasty whiteness, so I'm not, not necessarily my bag, but it's real. Now, again, there are some safety concerns with this because, again, could that potentially stimulate a melanoma or something like that? But this is something, again, as a peptide that gives a wildly different result than tesamorelin, right?
I remember a friend of mine talking about this. He was heavy in the bodybuilding industry, and I remember him talking about this 7-8 years ago.
It tells your skin to produce more melanin from less sunlight, but you have to inject it under the skin. And how big of an area would that injection cover? You have to do multiple injections over your body. It just sounds
super dark spot.
Yeah, I don't know.
I remember him. He swore by it. He said the stuff was amazing. But that kind of thing is important in the bodybuilding community. So
I don't know. I'll just go sit out in the sun. The UV gives me vitamin D anyway. So
yeah.
PT141 for men and women with low sex drive and ED who do not respond to Viagra or Cialis, also used by prostate cancer survivors. It works through the nervous system, not blood flow, injected under the skin before activity.
Oh.
Where are you injecting that?
Hold on. Oh, yeah, dude. Oh.
Where are you injecting that?
Yeah, that's a good
That
question.
one's going to be a no from me, dog. No problems there. Retatrutide for extreme fat loss and fatty liver disease. Bodybuilders already use it as the standard for cutting, not yet FDA approved. It hits 3 receptors, GLP-1, GIP, and glucagon. Liver results are unmatched. Injected under the skin. Tesamorelin for men over 30 carrying stubborn belly fat that'll not budge with diet or training. If it's not budging with diet or training, switch up your diet or training. But I don't know. Again, I think some of these peptides are kind of like a magic pill people are just looking for because they don't. Because choices. CJC1295 paired with ipamorelin for men and women over 35 who want better sleep, faster recovery, and gradual fat loss without harsh side effects. They boost growth hormone through 2 synergistic pathways.
Injected under the skin. Can you inject things outside the skin? Over the skin?
TB500 for athletes and lifters with nagging injuries that will not fully heal. Best paired with BPC 157 after a muscle tear or tendon strain. I mean, I would definitely keep the injury repair peptides in my back pocket if I ever need it. And I want to try the neuropeptides, but some of the I don't trust any of the weight loss or tanning ones. The ones that are like for aesthetics, that just sounds kind of lame and materialistic to me.
Yeah.
But definitely the injury repair and the brain one. Trizapatide for people who need more aggressive fat loss. A bunch of these are about fat loss. This one.
I mean, I think the idea of a peptide impacting insulin, I mean, that could potentially have some profound impacts for people struggling with diabetes. I mean, like severe diabetes.
Yeah, like a few of these I want to try. I just don't want to inject them.
Yeah.
MOTS-C for endurance athletes. Anyone wanting better stamina without stimulants. It increases ATP production. That sounds rad.
Dude, yeah, that sounds cool.
But I'm not injecting that. Anyway, there's a list of a lot of the most popular ones. You can find this guy on that Diary of a CEO podcast, Dr. Alex Tatum. And for further research on the peptides, there's, a few Huberman shows for it.
Yeah.
One by Huberman alone. Another one with this guy, Dr. Craig Conover. There's always a Huberman pod for it. So if you're interested in more of these peptides, you can go check them out. But that is all for us here on MAHA Living.
That was a good episode. I'm glad we covered that.
Yeah, I'm glad we covered that too. I did learn a few things, and I'll report back on what Semax does for me if I get it. I don't know. Okay. Interesting though.
Yep. Hey, hit that thumbs up button.
Yep. Hit the thumbs up, and we'll see you guys in 2 days, this coming Friday for MAHA News. Appreciate y'all for watching, and we will see you. We'll see you soon. June 25th to 28th, Badlands Media is headed back to Deadwood, South Dakota for the 12th stop of the Great American Restoration Tour. Whether you're attending in person or virtually, a GART veteran or virgin, there's something for everyone. Early bird prices for virtual tickets are available through May 15th. Merch packages are now also available for both in-person and virtual ticket holders. Get your GART 12 tickets today at badlandsmedia.tv/events.
Thank you so much for joining us, and don't forget to hit the thumbs up on this video. And a special thank you to all of our advertising partners. Please remember to shift your dollars to support those businesses that support Badlands Media.